Each year, the graduating students choose one of their own to be the recipient of the Ronnie D. Cohen Class Orator Award and to address the graduates, faculty, and guests. This year's orator is James Tsimis. James is a research editor for the Touro Law Center Law Review, received the Cali Award in Legal Process. He is a member of numerous student organizations and was a finalist in the ABA negotiation competition. I invite James to offer his remarks.
Thank you, Dean Rayful, President Kadish, distinguished faculty and staff, members of the bench and the bar, beloved family and friends, good afternoon and congratulations to the graduating class of 2012. First and foremost, thank you for bestowing upon me the honor of Class Orator. And just before I begin, I'm compelled to preface my remarks with a confession. And that is that the only reason I stand before you today is because I promised everyone that if they don't laugh and cry during the speech at the same time, that I would reimburse everyone's tuition. So here we go. Rule. A famed British playwright and barrister once said, "No brilliance is required in law, just common sense and relatively clean fingernails." His name was John Mortimer. Another great and profound philosopher of our day is recorded as saying, "You already know though, you only live once. That's the motto, bro, YOLO." His name, of course, was Drake. The truth is, we have all traveled different paths to get here. But what we all share in common is most sacred. We only have one life to live. And with ours, we decided to procure for ourselves a legal education, arguably the most versatile degree Sally Mae can provide. Today represents the culmination of 3 of the most academically arduous and sometimes even intellectually stimulating years of our scholastic careers to date. Now, we began our law school journey segmented into 3 groups. The best and the brightest were naturally placed in section BA. But there were also sections A and CA and evening sections. But here we are today, all of us together on this grand stage in this beautiful hall, celebrating what we went through together. What we have just accomplished truly is a remarkable feat, one that has undoubtedly brought us together. From unknown faces in August of 2009 to impenetrable bonds of friendship in 2012, our memories with each other in the hallways of Touro High and beyond will remain with us forevermore. Law school is an emotional experience, and we have experienced them all, from crying after the evidence final, which was an exam that even the bar examiners would struggle with, thanks to Professor Shaw, to laughing after a funny G-chat conversation in class, to the frustration brought from grappling with the canons of the Blue Book. Law school is the quintessential emotional roller coaster. And there are some who might suppose that all this is a matter of luck. But then to them, I would say that chance favors those who are most prepared. And I can confidently say that we have been among the best prepared of law school graduates this year. Thank you. But how do I know that's true? Well, because in the car right here, I heard a commercial on the radio that advertised, all lawyers are educated, but Touro's lawyers are prepared. And as I stand here before you today, I must profess that although I'm not entirely certain where this degree will take us, some in law, perhaps most, others in business, still others elsewhere, whatever we end up doing, I consider this profession a calling of the highest order. Yet, despite how noble I believe our profession is, there are some cynics, not many I'm sure, but nevertheless there are some who make fun of lawyers, and they have jokes about us. So please indulge me in some several corny jokes I heard just recently about lawyers. Judge Laser alluded to some of these earlier. My friend, who's a computer guy, told me this one. He said, "Have you heard about the lawyer's word processor?" I said, "No, Bill." He said, "No matter what font you select, everything comes out in fine print." Another friend of mine who's an acrobat in Cirque du Soleil said, "What's the difference between a lawyer and a trampoline?" "Well, you take off your shoes before you jump on a trampoline."
Oh.
But even Shakespeare said it too when he said, "The first thing we do, let's kill all the lawyers." A bit dramatic, I think, even for Shakespeare. Query.
Not for your notes.
If then society derides lawyers, as evidenced through those eloquent, witty little quips, why do lawyers serve such an indispensable function in society? I therefore beg of you this question: are lawyers really necessary? You always hear the need for more teachers, more doctors, for more lawyers. When was the last time you ever heard anyone say to you, "Please, please, child, go to law school"? The world needs more attorneys. Now, granted, of course I'm being facetious and lighthearted about the matter, but my point is nevertheless made. Lawyers are special. Now, we've taken many classes in law school and we've learned many things. Our professors stood before us and, without fail, articulately explained the law through a technique known as the Socratic method. They asked us the questions. It's brilliant. We always learned something new, and it was absolutely never boring, thanks to Facebook. But just 3 short years ago, not one of us knew the importance of a case's procedural history, or what immense joy could be had by the learning about the rules against perpetuity. Or, inter alia, what arguendo, sua sponte, and in flagrante delicto meant. If someone would have told me in elementary school that we'd still be using Pig Latin, I would not have believed it. But yes, we've learned a lot since our days as babes, and we've taken many classes. We've taken classes of 2 varieties, namely what our pedagogues would classify as practical courses, like pre-trial litigation and trial practice, as distinguished from the core substantive classes like torts and contracts. But the most important lesson of all in law school is not taught in one class. It is not one course that is taught in one classroom, in one semester, or even in 1 year. Rather, it is a thought process that is learned and acquired over time. We are, in fact, still learning it. We will never cease to learn it, because it changes with time and with perspective. That thought process is the most important intangible that law school taught us. That, and of course that nice mice evade wasps, get man-car clawed as they try to escape from a mad dog, that's cat. Now, it sounded to many of you like word salad is simply the means by which we will endeavor to pass the New York State bars.
Yes!
Go people.
Yeah.
But more than that, law school taught us not to simply accept the status quo, but to challenge it. Fiercely question the present state of affairs. If nothing else, we have become perpetual questioners of everything. I once told a friend not to have a pool party at her house while their parents were away because of the liability she would incur if something unfortunate would happen. I was immediately uninvited to that pool. The truth, though, is that we live in a scary world. During our 3-year tenure of law school alone, we experienced and continue to experience very turbulent events in our local, national, and international arenas, all of which have given us a lot to think about. And perhaps every commencement speaker in every generation says that, and rightly so. But then again, not every generation has had to face the unique set of challenges that threaten our society. An ineffectual government, a deflated economy, and the procreation of Jersey Shore cast members. Like it or not, this is the world we inherit. But alas, the precarious times in which we live today will be the days our children and our children's children will read about in their history books. Just some of the challenges we grapple with include, perhaps most relevantly, the dire economic times we face. We live in a time where law students sued their own law schools because there were no jobs waiting for them upon their graduation. It should be noted, however, that those schools didn't have nearly as many bake sales as we did. But no, this is not a local problem. This can be seen across the world, as evidenced by not only the financial crisis in the United States, but also by our friends across the pond in Europe as well. We are not only entrenched in an economic battle, but in law school, we found ourselves engaged in a battlefield of ideas. As lawyers, we are trained to think critically and to create solutions and resolutions to social problems, business problems, environmental problems. The problems are endless. Many challenges have developed in our day for which we now have the power to solve with our newly acquired skill sets. During these past 3 years alone, we've had social uprisings and protests to a degree that our generation never before experienced. What social phenomena prompted the rise of the Tea Party and the Occupy movements? When, before these past 3 years, did we ever even hear of Ponzi schemes? How are we going to ensure the longevity and sustainability of Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid for our generation and subsequent generations? Is health care an inalienable right? Why is Kim Kardashian famous? Admittedly, these are questions for which I do not have the answers. But as lawyers, we are now equipped with the requisite skills to address some of these challenges. We are problem solvers. We have the power to not only identify those problems and ask those questions, but to effect real positive change in the world and to correct the injustices that plague our society. We are not doctors of medicine for the body, but we are doctors of law for society. Bestowed on us is a truly great responsibility. And although we may not have the answers to those questions today, we shall face each other face to face, no matter how diametrically opposed we are politically or ideologically, and we shall debate these issues. We shall fight dispassionately, yet zealously, for our convictions. We shall defend the persecuted and prosecute the transgressors. We shall never surrender to injustice. We shall fight for what is right. And as Shakespeare said, we shall do all this as adversaries do in law. Strive mightily, but eat and drink as friends. Just please not on Fridays anymore. Now, on commencement day, speech makers are expected to dispense advice to the graduates, and it's supposed to be so remarkable that it inevitably applies to the whole audience. I woefully regret that I am unable to impart any such wisdom to you today. But what I will say is use common sense. John Mortimer said it. No brilliance is required in law, just common sense. Sometimes we forget that. Sometimes we are clouded by our fancy degrees and our expensive educations that we forget to use common sense. Help bring reason and respect to discourse and debate. Help law bring justice until justice is commonplace. Do something good every day because you only live once, as Drake reminds us. And life is too short to waste on irrationality. It's all borrowed time. Our days here are finite, but our effects on society can last much more than a lifetime. Abraham Lincoln succinctly said it best when he said, as peacemaker, the lawyer has superior opportunity of being a good man. So again, I ask you, are lawyers truly necessary? I think it is self-evident that the need for them in this day and age is more necessary than ever before. I want to conclude with one last remark. I probably said a lot of things today, but above all, This is absolutely the most important. Our law school experience and our success here would have been utterly deplorable, if not impossible, if it were not for our family and for our friends. So I know I speak for all of us graduates when I convey to everyone here in the audience and to those who could not make it, a heartfelt and most sincere thank you. Thank you for putting up with our moodiness. Thank you for putting up with our arrogance at times. Thank you for making us laugh at our most stressful times. Thank you for consoling us when we were down and celebrating our successes when we thought them to be impossible. Because of you, nothing is impossible. Thank you for being our support, and thank you for being our inspiration. Thank you all very much. Good luck and congratulations to the class of 2000.